Hello everyone, this is Talk to Meshif here, along with...
Hi guys, I'm Axion, and it's going to be a 1v1 on Blistering Sands. I am in the bottom, blue Terran, and my opponent is going to be the red, the red Terran, who is Zeus. I'm just going to say Zeus, because, looks a little more badass than a normal Zeus, but for the sake of our viewers, we'll just say Zeus.
Yeah, I mean, kind of seems like a sleepy Zeus, like when you put a bunch of Z's, type a bunch of
Oh,
Z's, it means you're sleeping. So maybe it's a sleeping god is what he's going for with that. I'm not really sure, but
I mean, that could be why the Roman religion fell to Christianity. Zeus was a little bit too asleep on Olympus there.
oh, that's cool. That's a good call, but I don't think our viewers really want us to discuss the history and of organized religion, so we should probably tend to
That's
stay away from that
quite
and
true.
look
But
at
if we
look
go
at these
if we go
builds.
to the history of organized StarCraft, we can see I'm currently going depot at 10, as my opponent is going depot at 9, barracks at 10, which is a little bit early. And luckily, I do have a scouting SCP going out, and we'll see what he can find out.
Yeah, as you can see, Zeus, both of you guys are trying to wall off, pretty standard play. And your SCV comes over here. He's got some minerals. He's maybe bringing a peace offering to Zeus. Maybe willing to negotiate. But I don't think that's what he's gonna do. If he ever decides to, kind of back away from that cliff and actually go check out what's going on in the base, which is a little bit of.
That was a little bit of a misclick.
But luckily he opens the gates and welcomes you. Oh, he's able to close that just at the last second. So good control by him. Had you set your rally point earlier? Oh, and he let you in. A pretty big mistake. He does not that he has anything in his base that you'll see, but if he had gas or anything like that, you would be able to see that. Or if he was hiding another, starting an early factory or anything like that, you would be able to see that. So you pretty much do
Yeah,
scout everything.
I'd say this is a pretty unstandard, possibly all-in build. I see 3 barracks going out. He's only at 13 supply, so I assume he's just going to be going mass marine and trying to hit me pretty soon. And I just finished my wall off and got my gas. My plan for this originally was to go 3 racks, but when I saw those 3 barracks go down for him super early, I changed it up and I decided I wanted to try and get a siege tech as well as get a bunker up to help combat the potential early marine push.
Yeah, definitely a good idea to get that bunker up. Obviously, you definitely read his play correctly. That he was just going three racks. No tech labs, still no gas. So it looks like he's going to mass marines and move out. And obviously, he definitely is ahead here in units. He's got 3 marines already. He's cranking out 3 more marines. And on the way for you, it looks like we have a reaper.
Yes, I was hoping that I could possibly catch him a little bit off guard with this Reaper. Because, I knew he was going to be doing some early aggression with the amount of barracks he had up so quickly. So I was hoping I could pop in, find a supply line, especially with the map, Blistering Sands. You can just pop right up this back door, and if they don't have a marine or a supply depot there to give them some vision, they may not know you're coming in.
Yeah, and we should note the placement that you did have put a supply depot by these rocks, and you actually left your SCV kind of chilling out there. So a little bit of a mistake for you. Good idea to put the depot there to give you vision of those rocks, but get that SCV back to work, please.
And it looks like he is pushing out right as I have 1 Reaper, and my second one is about to finish, and my factory is just going down now.
So he's really got a bunch of marines here, and it probably would have been smarter for him to try to break down these backdoor rocks. If he'd come in there, he'd pretty much gone right to your mineral line, and it would have been GG. But he looks like he's
Yeah,
going in for a frontal attack.
I would say that you're probably correct. I don't know if I would have had enough units in time, but as we'll see, it might be a little harder than he thinks to break this bunker out front.
I mean,
Although it only has 1 marine in it at the time.
yeah, if you look at the army tab at this point, he's got your army's only 200 minerals, whereas his 800. So, definitely advantage is to him right now, and you jump down on the cliff, but you're able to see all those marines coming in. You throw those guys in the bunker, and he's forced to back out because you do have a good wall. You luckily put those reapers right in the bunker, which is pretty smart. Looks like a missed rally point by him here. He sends a couple more marines right to their deaths at your front door. And
Yeah, and that really worked out for me. Reapers, you often don't see it just because they're normally used for just quick popping in and out, harassing or scouting, actually do pretty incredible damage to light units like Zerglings and Marine. They're doing, with their pistols, 18 damage a shot to light units. So they were able to pretty much, if they focus fire, take out a Marine in one hit.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, and you know, smart play to jump down the cliff, see those Marines coming, then get them right back in the bunker, and you get another Marine out in the bunker, and you know, kind of surprising that he moved all his troops out all the way back to his main. It really would have been easy for him to go down and break down these backdoor rocks. You know, at least scout it, break it down. You don't even have to move in, but at least break them down so you have the access to your base, and you'll have to, you know, worry about you know, 2 chokes later in the game. So kind of a weird decision for him not to do that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think he was just too afraid of some mass Reaper aggression because he had not scouted into my base yet, so he didn't know what I had. But at the same time, I mean, he throws up these 2 bunkers by his mineral lines. But he could have just filled those with Marines that he was producing from the barracks at the moment instead of the ones he had to bring back. And if we do look, he has a command center that he's building down by the gold, little ninja sneaky command center.
Yeah, he is getting that gold expansion without even taking out the rocks. You know, those Marines could have been put to use earlier, killing them at least, but he really was worried about the Reapers, which I guess, you know, the Reapers do present a psychological threat as well as their real, you know, military threat in this game. And you do lose one as you move in there and wisely pull out, as he did have the 2 bunkers down.
And if we look back at my base, it seems that he just scanned me. I now have 3 factories, 2 of them with tech labs, each producing siege tanks. This is a little bit too much. I don't really need this 3rd factory. I mean, I'm going to be really hard-pressed to be able to support enough gas to simultaneously produce 3 siege tanks on one base. So in retrospect, I probably would have built that, and I think maybe gone for a little bit of an earlier expansion, since I do now have 3 tanks, which this is before the newest patch came out, so they were still doing 50 damage to light units. So those Marines will really not stand a chance if they walk into a tank line.
Yeah, and as you should notice, Zeus's Expo just finished down here. He got the command center up by the gold, but he has, you know, that SUV is hanging out, not really feeling like gathering any minerals right now. And you know, his saturation at his main isn't even that good. So definitely kind of an economic, you know, mismanagement here. He needs some more SCVs not only as main, but get him down to that gold if you're gonna, you know, take use of getting that gold and spending the minerals to get it. But you do have a pretty sizable tank army now, and you do have siege tech research, and you're going to move out with that.
Yep, and I think at this point I have my factories rallied to my units as well as my barracks, so I can get troops incoming, and I should be moving up to the back door right about now.
Yeah, I like the fact that you brought 3 SCVs with you to repair those tanks. You know, that's a really wise thing. And then you siege up, and you know, you might as well start blasting down those rocks with those tanks. You might want to have brought your Marines a little farther back, you know, just in case he came down with you. Get your Marines in front of the tanks over here, in case, you know, he tried to flank you from the right side with, out of his main base choke.
Yeah, and definitely you see him throwing down a reactor on one of his barracks, and also, this is something you never want to do. He's queued up 4 or 5 Marines on each of these barracks. I think he would have been much better served to throw down some tech labs and try to squeeze up some Marauders, because they'll do much better against these tanks than the Marines will. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, if he wanted to, you know, crank out Marines quickly, he should have put down the reactors earlier in the game instead of wasting the minerals on the 4 barracks. But now you're moving out up into his base. You've cleared the rocks. You've got a pretty sizable army. Bunch of tanks. You see his 2 factories, so you know, I really like your placement. You know, you get your Marines right around there. Send your SCVs in even to attack, which is you know, you realize that and you quickly get them back to the tanks so they can repair. And the Marines, you know, try to come in, but that splash damage is just is too intense for them.
Yeah, and I really think a good thing to do with tanks, which you see me at as right before I moved past the little grass obscuring my view, I scanned. And it's because of that time it takes the tanks to siege. If I had just walked into a bunch of units and sieged, the Marines would have just been able to walk right up and possibly pick off a few tanks. Yeah, that you could have been definitely changed the way you played that, but for the most part it worked. And now you're up in his base, pretty much wreaking, you know, complete havoc. He's got a few more Marines. You know, you got reinforced tanks coming.
You know, a few more Marines coming, which is good. You walk right by his Marines, say a little friendly hello, and keep marching. And it is at this point, you know, he's sending Marines to your back door, so maybe we'll see if he finally tries to go in the back door, which is something he probably should have done a while ago.
Yep, I would agree, but and at this point, this game's pretty much mine. I've got a sizable army of 10 siege tanks, his 9 Marines, so it's pretty much just got to pick off these remaining buildings.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the gold, and, you know, he should have done a better job getting, when he moved his SCVs out of here, he ran them right into your tanks. Probably could have tried to sneak them around the gas. The guys are out his front door and get him down to the gold, so he could have, you know, and now he's throwing up a couple factories. But yeah, he could have gone down here, had a bunch of SCVs and fully saturate this, and, you know, maybe throw up a couple of starports or something, and get out some Banshees or something like that, something that really would have countered your tank army. But, you know, it was a little bit too little too late from him. Your army moves out, you know, you see, you check the first expansion, and you're at this point just trying to figure out where he is.
Yeah, I really feel that his mistake really lay in just the initial stages of the game. He built all 3 of his barracks between, I think, 12 and 13, and if you do that, you're just not going to have the SCVs required to generate the economy to support 3 barracks.
Yeah, and now that you do have this massive army, you pause it for a little bit here, but then finally decide to move out. You assume that he must have an expansion somewhere, or he's landed his command center. But you do a great job of you finding the command center with your Reapers, and you know, have them hang out right underneath so he can't land. You move in here, you know, and he was spending a fair amount of resources on these production buildings, these 2 factories with the tech labs, and he does leave the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say this is definitely one of the better games I played. I was able to macro pretty well. It only got out of control right at the end, and this is where I could have been expanding. I wasn't necessarily playing for a long-term game because once I took out his main base, I kind of knew that it was pretty much over. I just had to go find out where it expanded to. But I definitely could have expanded. My SCV saturation could have been a lot better. I'm actually not sure why it's so low at the moment. It only looks like I have 19 SCVs. And the game was about 16 minutes, so that's actually pretty bad on my part. I should have been doing a lot better on the saturation.
Yeah, I mean, definitely once you moved out with those first tanks and you took out his base out here, you probably could have moved right out and taken your natural expansion right here, throw down the command center, and you know, that also would have really justified the 3 factories. You know, like you did mention earlier, you kind of preemptively put up 3 factories when you weren't even fully able to produce consistently, constantly out of all 3. So, you know, had you gotten that, you know, the best time to expand is always when you're pushing out. So, as your army pushes out, you know, you can start your expansion and know that you're going to lock it down pretty safely because it's unlikely for him to counterattack while you're pushing out against him.
Yep.
So,
and I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It was a good game. Another one of the Axion 1 vs 1. Definitely be more in the future. Maybe I'll even play a few, even though I am definitely the far worst player of the 2. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed that and learned something, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep getting better.